beautiful day again. And day one of the 5-day fast. I'm on my way to a retreat this weekend. And it's going to be a pretty heavy retreat for me, I'd say, with everything that I've been going through this last wee while. And I'm looking forward to it, but the difficulty and the challenge of 5 days without food. I haven't fasted in quite some time. I'm actually looking forward to this because I need to confront a few things that I haven't been able to. And it's going to be a challenge. I would say last time I fasted, I used to fast every week, but I haven't fasted properly in months. And I decided that I know this retreat's going to be pretty intense for me. I know it's going to be a challenge. There's a lot of stuff I need to look at and confront in myself. And I think there's a bit of difficulty. I need to sort of let the hardship. And this is the thing. The beauty that I find about the plant medicines is that, oh fuck, I just took my finger off, my toe off there. The beauty of the plant medicines is it exposes things to you that you don't want to look at, but well, the deeper you go, in the beginning, before you do the plant medicine, in fact, funny enough, I'll go off topic, but I got memories back of this day, 2021, when I was down doing the Wachuma, and I noticed in the photographs I took that every photograph, I'm away from the group. I was photographing the group, and now I look at myself, I can go, wow, you've really changed. Because the Paul back then presented presented an image, but he was a wee boy inside. He was terrified of judgment. And I can see in my own behaviours now, I can look at myself and I can go, I remember that retreat, I took myself away from everyone. And the retreat before that, I'd done the same thing. I avoided everyone. There was an unconscious program within me that wouldn't allow me to surrender or be a more authentic version of me. I had to present a lie. And I seen that, I was able to see in the photographs I was taking photographs of the group, and there was almost like and I can understand there was a part of me that massively wanted to be part of the group. But in order to be part of the group, I had to commit to what the group is doing, which just means authenticity and vulnerability and sharing and exposure. And I just was not in that position. I couldn't do that. I couldn't allow myself to do that. And I only recognized it there when the memory came up. I was like, holy shit, the change in me. And the thing about plant medicines is that it's like a spotlight on the fears, a spotlight towards the lies and the stories you've told yourself that you haven't wanted to acknowledge. And now I look at myself today and I go, wow, I'm a completely different person. You see my mask when I come down and freak out that I'm carving this. This is her pride and joy. She hates me carving in here. she's going to come in and crack up. I just have to laugh at her. But it's like I'm now in a position where I don't fear what's going to come up. I welcome it. But it doesn't mean it's easy. It's still going to be painful. There's still going to be a lot of stuff coming up. And it's difficult. So I like to prepare myself. And I haven't prepared myself. I'm getting a call to prepare myself really deeply for this one. Because I know so much is coming up right now and whatever. I'm going to have to confront a lot of things I don't want to look at. But the very fact of making the decision to fast for 5 days and understanding the processes, because I've done 10 days before, and I understand the process of what comes up when you do prolonged fasting. See, a lot of people do it for fat loss, but I do it for more spiritual, introspective reasoning, because food, as I always tell people, is one of the greatest ways we have of avoidance. And when you deny yourself the ability to eat, when you make a decision, I'm not going to eat food for 5 days, then if you break that, you've gone against what you set out to do, which means there was something in you overriding what you set out to do. And the thing is, we've all got the ability not to eat. Now, in the fitness industry and the science, I get it. There's going to be all about, oh, you're going to lose muscle mass, blah, 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 blah. Well, I've never actually experienced that, to be honest with you. But what I do know is every time I fast, for prolonged fasting, not like 24 hours, 24 hours is a piece of piss. But when you do this prolonged fast, you're then exposed to stories and programs and feelings that you shut off because you're able to use food as the source of avoidance. And sitting with that will bring up stuff. So I know that Friday's the first night of medicine, Saturday's going to be the really strong night. And ironically, we're doing an astrological event on Saturday, the 18th. That's very profound, especially for my chart. So it's almost like the subconscious in me is calling me to do this, because I know that what's going to come up for me over this next 5 days is going to really highlight the intentions I need to set for the medicine on Friday and Saturday night. And honestly, I can't wait. I cannot wait for it, which is totally the opposite of the way I used to be. I used to dread being exposed and, vulnerable. It was my greatest fear. Now, I just don't care. Now I welcome it. And it's like, without judging people, or without wanting to sound like judgment, the lack of ability in so many people to actually face their inner demons, their inner fears, is probably the reason why we are as a society and a species at the point we are today. Everyone pretending that everything's okay, everyone lying on social media and talking about the trending topics, but avoiding the actual real substance of what's holding us back. And the thing is, every one of us is capable of this. Every single human that I've ever met is capable of approaching this. And the great thing is, there's 3 of my members actually at the gym going to this retreat. And the one thing I notice about medicine retreats is, when you go there, you usually don't know a lot of people. But what you find is, it's like the universe has brought all these people together. And you only discover why when you're there, when it actually happens. Because what I've always discovered is, the people at the retreat, a lot of them end up telling you your story. They've shared the same experiences. What they say resonates with you, what you say resonates with them. And in that sharing, there's this beautiful moment of connection that is so human. And it's the one thing that I crave now. I actively crave it, because we just don't have it anymore. There's something very human about sharing pain with others, and the energy within that group, within that circle. It resonates at a similar frequency, and there's no judgment, there's no fears, and you can feel the people's pains and their, just, I think these screens and the distraction and people's needs to present the image of what they want others to believe they are has become so prevalent in society that I think a lot of us have lost connection with the real us. I've noticed that, I think a lot of people actually believe they're being authentic because they've spent so long cultivating this image, this identity of who they need the world to see them as, that they've now attached to that and they don't recognize the, the disconnect. And when you go to these retreats, there's an awakening within you. There's a realization that you're like, it's like a spark within you that wakes you up to something that has laid dormant within you for so many years. You believe the version you are is real. And then you go to a medicine retreat and you experience the medicine, whatever the medicine brings up for you is yours and yours alone. But the sharing, just the sharing of energy, it awakens a part of you that's been asleep for so long that you forgot existed. And you can't go back to sleep to that. And there is this, when you go back to reality, there's a hollowness almost, because you crave the authentic connection. It's amazing how we can spend our lives with people that we love, our friends and family, but never fully connect with them because of the fears of being judged or worried about what other people think. But yet you get into a room of strangers and the medicine exposes our fears. It exposes the unconscious. It awakens love within you. And in that shared vulnerability and that awakened love that we all feel, there's a connection that's made. And it's never failed to happen to me. And anyone that I know shares the same thing. Like I've some of my closest friends are the men that I've shared the medicine retreats with, because the absolute truth in what's said, it's it's not experienced in everyday life anymore. I believe that many generations ago we had families who were more in tune with each other, energetically wise and love wise, and there was that reliance on each other, and that reliance on each other like created bonds. And today, with the fracturing of the nuclei family and society, and the projection of what they want society to be and what we feel that society should be, there's this dissolving of connection, like a dilution. It's almost like you see today, like if you watch any reels, all of a sudden there's been this massive uptake of articulate people. Some of these people haven't got two teeth in their head. And if you go back, which I've done just to see see if my patterns are correct. So I'd go back, scroll back, and I'd watch some of their videos from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And their speak has completely changed. How they speak is completely different. And what made me do this was because I noticed that all these people suddenly became very articulate, but they were articulate in the same way of speaking, AI. And you can see it, and you can feel it. If you look at them, they'll be like this, and then my friends will be like that, and they'll say, and there's the same words, and there's the same sort of slogans, and it's like rhyme speak. It's like pressure, not presence, and things like this. All these wee like poetry sayings. Start paying attention to it, and you'll see it. And I've felt it within social media. It's become even more unauthentic because less of us are actually sharing our own opinion. We are seeing a topic that's trending, and then we're putting into AI, what should I say, and then they're printing these out and they're speaking this, and what's said sounds really intelligent, but it also sounds the same. I think it's an agenda. I think it's a way to try to get the hive mind working so that we can't think for ourselves, and it's alienating the ability to have our own opinion. Because if we're relying on a machine to create what it is we say, and subconsciously we're taking this in over and over and over again, then we soon become part of that program. And when you go to a retreat, that doesn't happen. When you go to a retreat, people see you for who you are. And when you take the medicine, a lot of the time you are not in control, in that what comes up is going to come up, and you're going to be seen in that pain or in that process. And that in itself brings up the panic, the suppressed fear of judgments and worry about what other people are going to say about you and think about you. And that brings up the unconscious programs within us all that have cultivated this belief and this identity that we present to the world. And I think that's been the biggest change in me for the last 5-6 years, is the more I've like embraced this environment where there is nowhere else to go. You have to be yourself. The less fear that holds on me, and the more of a connection you build with people, because when you're seeing your most raw, authentic, honest form, those people in that room see you for you, or a closer version of you than you've ever allowed to be seen before, and that in itself allows you to shed the lies that you've held on to. It exposes, maybe you not shed it. I didn't. I held on to it. I fought against it in the beginning. I always feared what people thought. I always say this to me today. If the I 5 years ago was watching the me today on the screen, I'd be the one trolling them, because what I'd be saying would be triggering me to the point where I would have to attack him and make fun of him, even though he wouldn't be speaking to me directly. Well, he would be, because it's me. That's why I always, when trolls come on here, I always engage them with, like, because I see myself in them. I recognize those behaviors, and I understand what they must be feeling, not personally, but the energy of what they're feeling. For I was that guy, and I know how lonely and isolated and afraid they actually feel, and I know that it takes a lot to face those fears, and a lot of people are never going to. Maybe this incarnation, that's just not what they're here to do, and that's fine as well. But there's a lot of people out there who are meant to do this. There are a lot of guys and girls out there who are meant to come, who this incarnation, this is what their role is, but they're fearing it. And a lot of guys I talk to, like, you can see, well, I can see their program, and the medicine is calling them because they're always asking about the medicine. But the fear of what the medicine is going to expose is so overwhelming that they're like, fuck it, I'm not doing that, and they run away. And they're avoiding. But I can feel it within them that that's what they're meant to be doing, that's what they're here for. That's the whole purpose, is that this lifetime They're meant to be facing this. They're here to look at it. And you know, it's like there is no bigger fear than the fear of facing yourself and being seen for that version of you that you've kept hidden. And I understand why you're doing it, because maybe as a child you were ashamed for being that, or when you every time you did it, you were laughed at, you were abused by it, you were or for it. You know, maybe you suffered physical abuse from a partner or a parent. Maybe you were laughed and berated and bullied. But there's a lot of people out there that are craving that connection with others and they don't know how to do it anymore. They're so stuck. And it saddens me because I know how that feels. I know what it's like to be there. And I also, through my own personal experience, know what's on the other side of that. The hardest fight you're ever going to fight is the one in your own mind. You know, I lived my whole life, I was fighting, both physically and professionally, and emotionally and mentally. And stepping into the cage, I thought was one of the hardest things I'd ever do. But it pales in comparison of stepping into that retreat centre for the first time and taking medicine for the first time and allowing myself to surrender to that medicine for the first time. Because when you do that, then that version of you that you have crafted with so much precision is going to be left exposed and vulnerable. And it's not actually the fear of other people seeing it. You tell yourself that. It's the fear of what you have to confront. It's always you. It's always you. And you're creating, see every man and woman that you have ever encountered that has abused you, has made fun of you, has berated you and put you down. You created that version, you created that person to come into your life. They were there for a lesson. And because you weren't able to see the lesson, you repeated it. So let's take an abusive partner, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. You created that man or woman to come into your life because that's the energy you're residing at. The perpetrator needs a victim. The energies are on the other side of the spectrum. Perpetrators up here, the victims down here, but they're still on the same spectrum, just opposite polarities. And that's when you recognize that. When you step out of that victim story, you can't attract that perpetrator. When you step out of the perpetrator energy, you can't attract the victim. But the perpetrator is also a victim. He's a victim to his own story or her own story, as much as the actual victim. And it all stems from fear of being seen. And it's funny when you go through these experiences, how you see the similarities, the story. We become so stuck in our own story, our own head, our own belief structures, because they keep us safe, that we're unwilling to look at that. And because we're unwilling to look at it, we then find ways of validating how we feel. And that leads us to more experiences of the same, which then reinforces and strengthens that belief that you're right, which means you go and seek more. And it's just perpetual loop over and over and over and over again. And then one day the medicine shows you. And that's it. You can no longer you can no longer acknowledge the lie, or you can no longer deny the lie. You have to acknowledge it. And that's when the real work begins. And it's painful. And I think that's a thing. A lot of people run away from pain. That's why a lot of people who do medicine the first time, I know I was like this. They went there for the trip. They went there for the visuals. They went there to go, ooh, it was cool. That's one of the problems I think in the plant medicine community right now. The energy that's the energy of the plant medicine itself has taken. A lot of people are wanting to do it simply because they want the trip. Ironically, they want to escape. And what they don't realize is it's the shit you don't want that you need. I know, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff comes up for me this weekend. What I'm currently going through in my personal life and what I'm carrying at the moment, I know that I'm going to have to face it. And I've been trying to face it, but sometimes it's hard to face it when you're in it. You need to sometimes get away from the environment you're in to allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. And like then observe it and integrate it. And if Saturday's going to be the main night, I can feel it. Friday night's medicine is always the gateway to Saturday night that I'm brought to places. And the medicine I'm going to do tonight on Saturday is my favourite medicine. And it's very, 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 it's beautiful. It's beautiful medicine. But it's also very potent. And it always leaves me blown away by what's unseen within me. Even though I'm doing this work so many years now, and that I recognise a lot of stuff in me, it always blows me away just how much I've been denying to myself. And this is why I do these medicine. Like people say to me, "You're addicted. You're running from the medicine." It's like I do medicine ceremonies probably twice a year now, sometimes three, depending if there's a group, if there's a gathering of men that I know, then I'll go to something like that because I know it's going to be worthwhile. Just the profound experience of being around those guys. There's a mixed retreat, and do you know something? The last time I was at there, I can't wait because the man and woman running this retreat. Oh my god! It's the first time in my life. Genuinely, this is something that blew me away. So every time I'm on this medicine, I experience death over and over. It's happened every time where like my body starts going into like a somatic, just jerking like this, and my whole body just goes crazy, and my whole will just go into like nervous system reset, and the body convulses uncontrollably, and I start going and hyperventilating almost. But it's a very cathartic experience for me. Externally, it probably looks hell, but for me inside, it's really cathartic. But I experience these lifetimes, and it's really weird. It's like I'll start going. Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember Terminator 2 when that guy's holding the bomb? And he was like, I don't know how long I can hold it for. He's like, and then he drops the bomb and building blows up. That's the way it feels for me. So I'll be lying on the floor and I'll be convulsing. And then there'll be a calmness comes over me and I'll take this one last breath and go, and my eyes will open and fixate. And my body will stop moving. And I won't breathe for maybe a minute, 2 minutes. And there's comfort in there. It's very comfortable. There's no panic. It's a really nice feeling. But then it's like I feel this need to breathe in, and then the whole process starts again. And this will happen 10, 15 times. And the last time Was it the last retreat I went was with both these two? And it was the first time I'd been with the two of them together. I'd all been with Feta, but never with Julia. And the two of them together, like, I was going through this moment, this process, and I remember Feta saying, when you feel it, bring yourself back to the breath. And I knew he was talking to me. 100% he was talking to me. Though he was talking to the room, but he was talking to me. And I couldn't get under control. And then Julia started singing. And her voice, Jesus, it was like an angel. And she just kept on singing this song about love. And tears started coming out of my eyes, just tripping down, not sobbing, just my eyes started welling up and tears started tripping down the side of my face, just flowing. And in that release of tears, the somatic experience dissipated, just started to slow down. And it was sort of like, when remember as a kid, you do that. And then my body would start slowly, and then the two of them started singing. And I came out of the process and I started watching them. I have never experienced love until I seen that. And the whole room was just watching these two people who are, I mean, just, oh my God, watching these two together. In that moment, them two forgot that anyone was there. The two of them were just singing to each other, and their voices are such in harmony. And the energy, we all spoke about this the next day. The feeling of, I felt their love in me. It was profound. I honestly, I can't articulate how profound this moment was. I wasn't them two, but I was there. I felt the love them two had each other. I could feel it myself. The medicine brought us, the whole room was just in this absolute connectedness. And it was the most beautiful, beautiful experience I've ever had in my life. I'm not allowing myself to go in thinking this is going to happen again, because I don't think it can. It won't happen again. There'll be a new experience. But I hope that there's a similar energy. It gave me hope, because there was 15 strangers in that room. And in that 5-6 hour window, we were more connected than any other people on this planet. And it allows you to see what we all are capable of. All of us. All of us are in a place where we could all share in this, when we just allow ourselves to let the guard down and embrace that aspect within us all, that love is the highest form of energy. And it's really lacking in today's society. It's ironic, that we're told we're the most connected we've ever been, but yet we're so disconnected when it comes to actual interaction. Because we all can create this false dichotomy of who we are and what we are, and we can present this image of what we want the world to believe we are, and it's safe behind that screen. But I just believe that everyone should be allowed to experience this. We're here for a very short period of time. Like the medicines have brought me to this point where my parents I'm back. I talk about this regularly, like how the bankruptcy and how everything's happened over the last 2 years was the worst thing that happened to me, but it actually wasn't. It was the greatest thing, and it was meant to happen because it did. And the old me would not have been able to handle what's happened, but the real me has been able to embrace it and appreciate it and love it. On Saturday night, I had a barbecue with my mum and dad and the two daughters. And you know something? Small, talking about an iPass, it was small, but it was profound for me. I was sitting just over there and I was looking at mum and dad, and it's the last summer. This we're not going, never going. Like, I'm very well aware that this is the last summer I'll be with my mum and potentially my dad, and that scares me. It's funny, a 49-year-old man, but you're always a boy when it comes to your parents. You know what I mean? It's like, and to think about the years that I lost with them and how blessed I am to be put in this position that I can be of service to them now. And the old Paul could have done this. And even like the admiration I have for my mum, even though she can melt my fucking head, what she's going through and how she's coping. And I'm what used to trigger me, because me and her are very alike, and what used to trigger me about her, I can now love her for it. And I can see the programs within her, and I can recognize they're her programs. They're not mine. I don't have to. I don't have to allow them to and to affect me. I can observe them, and I can recognize them why she is the way she is, and I don't have to try to change her because I can change me. And the fact that I've changed means that I can allow her to be who she is without this need for her to be what I wanted or what I feel. It's and I think but as you said there, what's the most profound with the bankruptcy? It's building a relationship with my parents, with my kids, and recognizing that my members love me. The bankruptcy was the best thing to ever happen to me financially. Not in a great place. But you know what? No matter what, I have never needed anything. I always get exactly what I need. I've always coped. And there's a humbleness within that, and there's a lesson to be found within that. That a lot of people were so focused on the materialistic and the need to present what society says that you would miss it. But the medicine over the last number of years has humbled me to a place where I can no longer hold on to, I no longer want to hold on to the stories and that identity. And I'm embracing the man I've become and the man I'm going to become. And I'm able to let go of the lies that I needed to hold on to stay safe. Because I realized they were just lies, and I realized that they weren't they weren't me, they weren't authentic, they were an identity, they were a story that I needed to stay safe, to feel safe. But when you allow yourself to examine who you've become and why you've become it, and you can let go of the shame attached to it and learn to love yourself for who you are, and you can thank and honor that version of you because that version of you existed to get you to where you are. And it's like a lot of us hold on to something that's dead. It served this purpose, but we can't let go of it. It's letting go, the learning to let go. That's where the growth happens. The fear of the unknown. It's safe to be familiar. It's comfortable. And a lot of us will fight for, fight to the death to hold on to the identity that we need everyone else to see within us. And the ironic thing is, now that I look back on me, like everyone who loved me knew who I was. I couldn't see it. There's a protection mechanism in us all. I see there's a lot of people on Instagram who use like wild camping and isolation, long walks in nature as their identity now. And it's absolutely necessary. We are nature, and to be connected with it is beautiful. But we're also tribal. And if you're seeking out isolated places to avoid being interacting with others on a personal, deep level, but you can come on here and you can present this creation that you've created yourself of who you are. There's still something inside you that's empty. You've become familiar. You've become comfortable with that identity. I was never comfortable being around people, and I love my own space. But I also now value that interaction with truly authentic people. People who can see me for who I am and not judge me. Like I can look at them and love them for who they are without the need to make them seem that is it. We need to be focusing on getting ourselves to a place where we're so content with who we are, we don't need anyone else to be something else, regardless of how they act. We can put up boundaries, which is another thing I hate to see is this spiritual community about boundaries. Boundaries is now just spiritual bypassing for so many people. Do you know all these healers who I'm putting up a boundary? No, you're fucking not putting up a boundary, you're running. You're a card. You're presenting an image of someone you need other people to believe you are. And whenever someone can see you for who you are and challenge you on it, you're running away from it. And that is the majority of the spiritual world today. And I've seen that. I see a lot of overlaps in the spiritual community today that is in the PT community. This need, and I'm sure it's in every other community, but these are the communities I'm in. And I can see the patterns. A lot of gym owners love to present the lie. Like their gym's the best. We're good. No, you're not. You're not the best gym. You're teaching a deadlift. You're teaching a squat. You're teaching your system. Just like I'm teaching my system. The only difference is I'm slightly more honest about my feelings. But I wasn't. I was that guy who had to present this image of what I was, and I needed to protect that image at all costs. And I would attack people who threatened that image, and I would get rid of them because it was too much of a threat for me. And now that I've done the plant medicine so much and I've seen who I was, and heart goes out to him. Because he was a scared little boy who was terrified of other people's opinions about him. And I love him because without him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be who I am today. And I honour him because he did go through hell and he did the best he could do. And he made mistakes. But he got me to here. And in 10 years' time, I'm going to be talking about this guy today and how insecure he still was and the fears that he's seen because they're unconscious. I don't know my fears right now. This is why I do what I do because I want to know who I am. This is a personal journey. I like to share it because I believe that if I can do it, everyone can do it. It takes courage, it takes conviction and commitment and the ability to let go. But I know that if I can do it, then everyone can do it because let me tell you something. Like I'm one fucked up dude. I have a lot of baggies there. And it's taken me years to get to this point. But what's the alternative? To live that lie? To pretend? To act like everything's under control and you're happy? when you're not. But yet you're going to come onto social media and pretend that you are. And you're going to waste the energy of your life presenting to people you don't know the image that you need them to see so that you don't have to connect with the real you. And you think that's okay? You think that is what the world needs more of? The world needs more of us as individuals being willing to be the most authentic version we can be. And that doesn't mean perfect. That means authentic. If you're traumatized right now and you're sad, then be that. And be unashamed to be that. Yesterday I broke down in tears in the shower because I'm carrying an awful lot. And I had to phone one of the brothers and I had to say, listen, dude, can you just give me 10 minutes to just vent here? Because I can't cope without doing this. And I did. And he did. And he allowed me. And the energy is like, it's released. It's too many of us are carrying too much alone because we fear being seen and we fear being judged, not realizing that the judgment we fear other people see us are judging are the judgments within us that we're judging ourselves against. We're just projecting it on the others because it's easier to do that than it is to look at ourselves. And what I can tell you all now, from a guy who's lived this, witnessed it, experienced it, we are all so alike. Every one of us. We've all got our own fears, our own traumas, our own self-doubts, and we're all pretending. It's just that most of us aren't willing to look at that. The known hell is safer than the unknown heaven. Do you know, it's so much easier to remain in a familiar hell than it is to allow yourself to experience the unknown heaven. Because it's the unknown that the subconscious does not want. But just because the subconscious doesn't want it doesn't mean it's not impacting you. And you know, when I hear people say, I don't need that shit, I'm fine, I want to give them a hug. Because I know you're not. And I see so many people trapped in this matrix of, if you've got a big bank account, then you're successful, you're good. No, you're not. You focus on your money. You cost yourself true relationships. You sacrifice friendship and love for noughts and ones on the end. And when you get to your deathbed, you analyse what happened. But you have to go with the flow. It's the only thing you can do. Because we're not capable of swimming upstream all the time. And you know what? The river's narrow. Sometimes you just let it sweep you away. You come to the ocean and you see this vastness of infinite possibility. But when you're looking at that wee small river trying to swim up the source, it's exhausting. It's like being able to just surrender to difficulty. You know, I know the next 5 days is going to be challenging. I'm already hungry. And there's lots of sweets and chocolate and biscuits and cakes in my mum's house. My mum's a typical nanny. And I know that the program within me, a child within me who wants the sweets, who wants to self-soothe with chocolate, is going to absolutely be challenged. And for me, the hardest part will be sitting in the gym on my own when no one is going to be there. And I can just go down to the shop and buy myself some chocolate. Poundland's across the way. 3 big bars of chocolate for a £5. So no one's going to know, except me. And it's easier to suppress and justify than it is to sit with it and ask yourself, what does this mean for me? What's coming up? And this is the beauty of fasting for me. For me, this is why I love fasting so much. It's not about, see, a lot of people think because I'm a coach, I'm a PT or gym owner, that it's all about calories in, calories out, and calorie deficits and protein. It's not. For me, it's not about that at all. I am way, way more than just someone who focuses on the physical. I'm doing 5 days this time. 10's my max, but I'm doing 5. And I decided this last night. I just said, fuck it. There's something so heavy in me right now. I'm carrying so much, and I'm going through a really rough process at the moment, and it's prolonged. It's been 2 years. It's been nearly 2 years actually. But you wouldn't starve after 2. That's the whole thing. You wouldn't. You would be tempted. You would be brought to places where emotion comes up, and you want to cry and you want to scream and get angry. And I remember when I was doing one, I think it was a 7-day fast I was going for, Grand Risings, and I was doing a 7-day fast, and on day 5, the girls were doing my head in. God, they were just being kids. They were just being kids. And I remember I reached up and I just grabbed a packet of Oreos and I opened them and I was like, ah! Couldn't even eat them. And I just fucking threw them down. I was so raging. But it was only my children were being children, was triggering me. And I had to sit with that. And then I had that brought me to that allowed me to come to the realization that you're frustrated because your kids are just being kids and you need them to be perfect right now because you're going through stuff. And then I had to go play with them. And funny enough, I played with them, and all of a sudden I was in their energy and I was no longer thinking about food. It's fleeting moments, sitting with those hunger pangs, sitting with that temptation, desire, and knowing that if you break, it's because you allowed yourself to. And then when you do break, which by the way I've done many times, you then to sit with that and go, okay, what was made me so unable to do what I set out to do? What was in me? What was alive in me? And that brings you, and even in the fail, that's the whole thing, you don't fail. This is what people attach, like, I didn't succeed to failure. It's not. It's a lesson. There are many times that I've sat out to 24 hours and broke within 18 because I've walked in and smelled the steak and be like, oh, fuck this. But then I'll sit with that and go, oh, what was it? Like, come on. Because you'll validate it, you'll justify it, and we'll forget about it. But then the lesson isn't learned and it's an opportunity missed. When you can see everything as an opportunity to go deeper and to look at yourself and to question why you did what you're doing and what does that mean to you, that's where growth happens. Like, I only talk about what I know to be true based off my experience. I'm not saying it's true for you, but I'm saying that I'm a man and we're all similar. And that the energy that I feel is going to be the same energy you feel. Just the experience and the story may be different, but the energy will be the same. And if I've got the ability to do these things, and so have you, and I look at men that the things I go, he can do that. Like, I've put on a bit of weight, which I'm not surprised at, because I see weight as like an unconscious conversation that you need to feel safe. Like, think about it. Fat is cushioning. Emotionally, it's cushioning. You're cushioning yourself against the blows of your experience of life. And if you're going through a hard time, a lot of us will put on weight because we comfort it, but it's the unconscious wanting to feel safe. This is the way I see things. And I look now like, the car accident, turning the pack, unable to train, feeling sorry for myself, eating food, I seen a video of myself from February 25 when I was fucking flying. The car accident destroyed me. I still, like, you notice I'm stopping carving and I'm not holding the knife with my fingers because I can't feel it. I can't feel my fingers right now, so I have to stop, let the feelings come back, and then I've got to go again, and then I'll feel it. My fingers will die again, and then I can't hold kettlebells the way I want to hold. I can't press a kettlebell like I can press 24 kilo now. And for some guys, they're like, what? I don't. But I was pressing 40, 44 kilo kettlebells, and there's an ego in that. I get that. There's an identity within that, and there's a sense of pride. You know, I went through a journey, and it's like, fuck's sake, and I'm frustrated. I want to be able to do that again. For me, is it ego? Yes. Am I aware of it? Yes. Is that a bad thing? No, because it made me feel good. Now, the bad thing is that I struggle to accept that. And there's a battle within me right now of wanting to get back to that point and finding the ability to do so. I found a program that's allowing me, like, for example, crazy thing, 100 kg bench press for 10 reps was commonplace for me. I'm up to doing 47 kg and I can just about do that. Now, when I say that, I do like an accumulation set, so I can do 47 kilos for 100 reps in a 15-minute set. But that still annoys me. But also, I'm proud of myself for getting myself to this point, and it's like trying to frame the experience in a positive way to allow me to keep going. Because if it don't, I'm going to get frustrated and I'm going to get annoyed. And this is where a lot of us fall down because we all suffer from men, especially usteitis. I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to run 5 minutes. And usteitis is the killer of men, middle-aged men everywhere. Because we want to get back to where we are or where we were, not acknowledging where we are. So I have now to reshape the conversation and reframe it to go, I'm proud of you, Paul, because you're back to training. Even though it's not the way you want to be doing it and what you want to be doing, you're still training, which in the grand scheme of things is better for my body, better for my mind, better for my soul. So I made a commitment that I'm going to show up and do it, knowing, or not knowing, but hoping that this process, and also if this program I've created for myself works, then I've got a program that I can then use with other men. Knowing that there'll be tweaks here and there, but 20 years of coaching experience, I know how to program. I know I'm one of the best in the business when it comes to getting men strong and taking you from zero to hero, regardless of where you are. I train the guy with one leg to get strong quads. I can definitely do it. Do you know, I've rehabbed myself from 2 hip replacements. This is just another setback. I've now lost part of my pec. Nothing I can do. I'll have a hole in my pec for the rest of my life. The muscle's detached. And I waited too late. It won't reattach. So I have now to adapt my training and just deal with that. It is what it is. But do I wallow in that, become a victim to it, or do I find a way to change it or to adapt and embrace what is? And that gives me more strength and more understanding. So when I coach other men, I can meet them at a place where of understanding. I see this all the time. Like if I'm going to coach men my age, then the more experience I have with men's stories, the easier I can articulate ways to overcome and resonate with them. So maybe these things are happening for me, happening through me, not to me. You know, is endorphins releasing a real thing? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Dopamine. Absolutely. And it's addictive. Do you know, tell me one guy, one girl who's ever turned around and said, God, I love a bit of broccoli when you're crying your eyes out. No, you want chocolate. You want that sugary, carby, because it sedates your feelings, your emotions. Oh, I built myself for 3 years and the nervous system crashed last year. Reset time. Absolutely. It's happening through you, not to you. I love that quote. Whatever's happening is happening through you. But because social media is there, we can find a way to find a reel, find a group that will tell us that you're perfect just the way you are. You are perfect just the way you are. But it doesn't mean you have to stay there. It doesn't mean it's the best version of you. There's a difference. It's that the spiritual bypassing community I was a coach who needed you to do what I told you to do so that I felt validated in my knowledge, because I couldn't do the things that I was telling you to do. And when you failed, I would push you away because it was exposing to me unconsciously my own feelings. So I'd project my inability to do what I was telling you to do onto you and get rid of you and then blame you and tell everyone how. And it was only through the medicine that I realised, holy fuck, they were my greatest teachers. I was just ignorant to it. And now I see so many in the coaching, in the spiritual coaching community, all lying to themselves, coming on. And I know these people personally, and I know their personal stories, and I hear what they're saying, and I'm just going, you're lying. I know you're lying because you know you're lying. That's the problem why you're so frustrated and why you're not getting anywhere in life, because you keep on denying to yourself what is true. But that's okay because that's where they are. And that's the biggest breakthrough for me. The moment it's like realizing I don't need anyone else to be anything other than who they are. And that if I start judging them, then I question myself. Like when I go, oh, you're lying, I go, okay, but what does that represent to you? It represents the unhealed part that you're still ashamed of yourself. So then I can thank them. And it's like, listen, we're all energy. When you understand this deeply, you can see it. Whenever you judge someone, you're judging you. You're just projecting that judgment onto them to stop you having to look at you. But they're your creation. You happen to look on social media because you co-created that event and you're going to listen to their reel, and you may think it's just, oh, it just came up. It's not. You created that because there's the opportunity. And when you do that, you can then let go of it, or you can acknowledge it, and you can start working through it. I've had an injury for 4 months and it's not getting any better in the face. Go to a physio, get it checked out, train your upper body. I have 2 hip replacements. Didn't stop me training. I did what I could do. Whether it was like mobility, some band stuff, upper body. You know, don't allow the victim to dictate the outcome, because you're going to have the victim and he has a predetermined outcome. We have the owner and they have a predetermined outcome. You are both them. I went to the doctor and told me to come back. Listen, Baz, I don't know who you are, right? And I don't know how much money you've got, but I'm going to assume that you've probably got some addictions, whether it be food, drink, or whatever, that you spend money on. So if this is really bothering you, be a man and step up and say no to that and put the money towards a physio and go get professional help. That's energy. You understand that action is energy. And that energy that you're creating will steer the outcome. The victim is, I went to the doctors, but there's your projecting. They haven't got a clue. Go find someone who has a clue. Find a way. This is the ownership. This is the lack of resilience and fortitude we've got in today's society. We want everyone else to sort our problems out. And usually the problem isn't the problem. The actual problem is how we're thinking about the problem is the problem. Because if you think differently, you get a different outcome. We've all got the ability to change. It's just that nobody wants, well, very few of us want to do the work that requires us, that's required to get us to change. We all want to have, like I see in society, the 6 week transformation is in society today. We all want the better body. We all want the better life. We all want the better bank account. We all want the better standing and status. But none of us want to do the work required to get there. And what's hyper focused on and validated is driving ourselves to absolute enslavement so that we can buy things that are prestigious and give us status. But a lot of those people, they're fake. They're successful. They're highly successful in what society classes as success today. But what is the point in being successful financially if emotionally you're retarded, redundant, empty? What good is buying another car, another TV, a bigger home, a better phone, having another note on your bank account if you're still feeling empty when you're alone? What good's all that if you need to have other people validate that for you? I would rather be broke but have people who care for me and love me than be rich and be alone. Or doubt if these people want to be with me for who I am or the money I have or what I can do for them. I think we tend to focus on the ideal scenario of money, but we're unaware of the things that can come about, the jealousy, the doubt, the unauthentic conversations, becoming that man or woman who just, it's all about the money. I'd rather have a hug from someone I really care about and love and know that I matter to them. I'd rather be on my deathbed knowing that what I did with my life impacted people on a soulful level than live my life in a materialistic world where money's no problem, but the substance beneath it is dead. And don't get me wrong, I'm a human. I'm here having a human experience. And like I am working my balls off at the moment. I'm currently creating an app that's sort of aimed toward, not sort of, is aimed towards helping men get themselves back in shape, calling the 44 standard, because I believe that the way I see it, the world I live in, men don't hold themselves to the standard anymore. The standard has slipped. So I've created this test, and I do the test with you. I've recorded myself. I'm Whitland, yes. I created this test, 7 simple exercises. And the 44 standards, 40 stroke 4, because it's 4 sessions a week, 40 minutes a session, 4-week blocks, £44 for men over 40. That's the idea of it. And you do tests. 1 minute plank, 1 minute dead hang, 1 minute of swings, 1 minute of squats, 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of inverted row, and 1 minute of pull-ups. And what you get, the AI system I've used, it's created a mathematical equation. So whenever, and I've done the videos myself, so you actually push start, the clock comes up in the app. I do the exercise with you. You either beat me, or you don't beat me, and you put those results in, and you're brought into a program. There's 4 phases in this, and then within those 4 phases, there is 4 sub phases of all 4-week blocks. So you're technically, each block has got 16 weeks, so it's like over a year's worth of 40-minute exercises. And if you can't do kettlebells, before you even do it, you're asking, can you do kettlebells? No. Yeah, right, no. You do a test. What's your experience with kettlebells? 0, or you click on things? Are you starting? Are you blah, blah, blah? I've basically taken 20 years of coaching people and tried to make the customer journey as flawless as possible so that no matter who you are, you will get. And even if you have 0, I've just finished recording. And by the way, the first 4 blocks, I do every workout with you. I've recorded every workout. It's taken so fucking long. I'm doing every 40-minute workout. And I'm recording it live so that you see it happening in time with you. So you've got access to all the tutorials. Plus you've got access to each workout every day. And then you press start and you can go work with me, or you can work alone by yourself. But the idea being that this removes excuses. I don't know what McGregor's fast app was. The thing is, I'm doing this myself. Unlike McGregor who pays people, I'm doing it all myself because I am a very big believer. And like, see this thing about me. See every gym I've built it with my own hands. I didn't pay anyone else to do it. I designed the gym. I put the equipment in myself. I move the gym about the place. I clean the gym. I do everything about the gym. The gym is mine. It is my energy. I've I've created this gym to be the way I am, and the same as the app. I think it's important that if I'm going to coach you, then I've got to know you feel. I've got to do it with you. I'm doing Claude. There's Abacus. It's got all different. It's got all different apps things. I wouldn't be able to see. I've had this idea for years, but I wouldn't be able to do it because it would cost me 15, 20 grand. That's only cost me about a grand to do this so far. But I've still got a lot to do. A lot to do. So I've only finished, and so I've got Reignite, which is for absolute beginners. Beginners, guys who can't even do 5 push-ups, guys who can't do 2 squats. It meets you where you're at. So a lot of it's only mobility and very easy. And I created a system that I've been coaching in the gym for years that works so well because it allows me to get lots of repetition and get your built up. Because you get a free downloadable kettlebell course from me, Kettlebell Mastery, which teaches you to swing. So in 6 sessions, you'll have the swing down. And then the program is designed that you can adapt where you are to the exercise you need to do and build it from there. So it's your own steady pace. And then I'm designing like a social media platform for it where the guys can upload. And the more you upload, it's a word based as well. Like you build credits, and those credits can lead to a 1-to-1 10-minute conversation with me, phone call or Zoom call with me, that I can go over things for you. If you've got to like, build up, and you've got to put profile photographs up of your performance photographs and record yourself doing the workouts, gets points, and before after photographs get you points. All these sort of reward systems that allow, because ultimately I want you to get the results. So if I can encourage you to get the results, brilliant. But that's a sidetrack there. But it's something that there's a standard that slipped in men. Oh, there's my dad. I'm going to speak to him. I haven't been waiting to speak to him. So I'll talk about this later. Have a good day, folks.